Okay, so there's a few different ways you can play this. Here's how I play it. And some of it will depend on whether you're playing on an electric guitar or an acoustic guitar. So on my acoustic, I cannot play it the way that I actually play it on the recording because I can't get up high enough. I'm like trying to reach out way like this. So you might have to kind of improvise things a little bit different. It won't sound exactly the same, but you'll be able to get close. So the original way is like this. So first thing I do, my first stroke is kind of come up. Into the verse part. So what I'm doing is, so this is a little tricky. So I'm using my thumb to hit this top E string, and then I'm using my first finger on the 5th fret of the B string, and then just following up. So on the 6th fret of the G string, I've got my middle finger. And then on the 7th fret of the D string, I have my ring finger, like that. So, and then the thumb catches this. This one here, the A string, it's mostly muted by my thumb barely touching it. So it's okay if it rings out a little bit, but you wouldn't want it ringing all the way out. So that's ringing all the way out, and to me, it's too much. So I want it to be more like that. So on that, I mostly hear this top E string, but I'm not hearing much of the A string. Then my pinky is where you're going to get the hammer on. So I very first is an upstroke, and then I'm going to do, I think it's 2 down. Yeah, and I'm kind of palm muting here because you don't want it to be like. You could do it that way, but I like to have it kind of more that palm muted sound. So, and then I'm using my pinky to hammer on to the B string. So the same string that my first finger is on, my pinky finger is going to hammer onto it. So, and then at the end of that phrase, the pinky's going to come off. So it's. Real slow this time. And then once you get that positioning and that phrasing with the hammer on and hammer off from the pinky, then the rest of it for those 3 chords is exactly the same. So as I move up here to the 12th fret, my fingers are in the exact same position. The first finger on the B string, second finger on the G string, and third finger on the D string. And same thing with the top one. And the pinky's doing the exact same thing. So it's start here. it's coming out of the chorus and into the verse, then you're going to come back to the same position that you had at the very first. But instead of hammering on with your pinky on the B string, you're going to hammer on the G string. So it'll be like this. So I'm only hammering on one time and then releasing it a little while later. So here's the hammer on. Whoops. And that's where it comes off right there. So. That's where it goes into the chorus. So, if you're playing, if you're not comfortable with wrapping your thumb around, or you're playing with an acoustic where you can't reach those upper frets, then the workaround is to use the chords up here. So it'll be like this. It's not quite the same, but what you would do is you would play the A, however you play it. Everybody seems to play A a little differently, but then you're going to hammer on with your pinky again on this the E string. So. And then to the E, and again, you're hammering on with your pinky, but you're hammering onto the B string. Back to the A, to D. Now, this is the chord that to me really can't get to sound quite the same, because you would actually need to be pushing one of the strings up here and just can't get up there reasonably. So just do the best you can. And then you would do your pinky for that last one as you're transitioning out of the chorus into the verse. Then you do your pinky on the B string. So the chorus, the chords there are just a B minor, E, E7th. So an E7th is just like A7th. An A7th is just like a regular A, but you're going to pull your middle finger off, or the string that is on the G will be open. If you have any effects, I don't know what kind of amp you're playing, but if you had effects, then you could use those, especially for the chorus. On the recording, it has the organ in the back that has a tremolo effect to it. So sometimes I'll try to recreate that with these effects. Like if you're coming in. As you come out of the chorus. Another option, so if you are playing the acoustic, then again we'll just run through those the options again for the box chords up here. So you got your A, see what happens if I'm trying to play this up here. So it's just too hard to reach that up to the 12th fret. Or maybe if your guitar had a cutaway, it might work. But even then, I had another guitar that had a cutaway. But this part here, I still couldn't get here because of this. My hand would hit here on the heel. But so you can try that. All right. I hope that works for you. If you have any other questions, just shoot me a message. Let me know.